welcome to Niger Now. And today we are having an important and heartfelt conversation about the ongoing killings and all the wahala back in Nigeria, up to the rising tensions back home.
We're discussing this from a diaspora perspective.
Absolutely.
As Nigerians living here in Halifax, watching events unfold back home with deep concern and emotion, as well as a strong sense of responsibility.
Right. So joining us today are members of our community, Toby Adeyomo and Soji Cole. Thank you all for being here, guys. I'm so pleased that you guys are here. You're welcome.
Thank you.
But there's the other thing actually we have to do here to let our people know that indeed it's Niger.
Indeed.
They won't.
Barkanku da zuwa, sanunku ku huta lafiya.
Do you understand her actually?
Yeah.
You speak Hausa too?
I speak enough to communicate, but
right.
I don't.
Ya kake.
Lafiya kalau.
Ya jin dadi.
Lafiya is a response to all of that.
Which one do you speak to? Sir?
Yoruba.
And how do you say greetings to your people?
Ekaleo, ekaro, and gbogbo ìgbà tẹ́ bá ti ń wò.
You're not taking us to where we don't know. Right, guys, it's so interesting that we are all here to talk about the ongoing in Nigeria, and it's really something very concerning. But very quickly, recently there had been issues ranging from external influences to the internal ones, which we hear on daily basis on social media and all of that. Trump has designated Nigeria as a country of particular concern, right? We have kidnappings happening in Kwara State, in Kebbi, the Brigadier General that was recently, brought down, and his men, and even the 50 students and teachers who were kidnapped. 25 in Nigeria.
Abducted girls. Principal, I think I was killed.
This is crazy. What do you guys make of all this? So you can go if you want.
Yeah, it's a solemn period in our national life in Nigeria. It's a period of very strong, sober reflection. It's a period that every Nigeria has been turned into a state of complete downcast. And for me, I think it's the effect streams from Nigeria up to every Nigerian living outside of the Nigeria, because we have families, we have friends, we have our connection, we have everything. As a matter of fact, for someone like me, I believe someone like me who left Nigeria in his full adulthood, I believe that the whole of my stake is back home in Nigeria. So when you hear stories like this, it's demoralizing. It affects every part of you. So for me, it's a very solemn period in our national life.
Toby, we're talking about how you think it all started. Just to set the context for this conversation, what is it that you think that really got us to where we are right now? You were talking about the union and the...
Yeah. I was just looking at it from the historical perspective, that for us to be able to address the issues that we have to understand where the issues came from, the antecedents of this situation that we find ourselves. And I was able to pinpoint it all the way back to how Nigeria even came to be. Are we supposed to be a country? Are we supposed to be a country, a group of people just merged together for convenience, for
marriage
ease,
of convenience?
A marriage of convenience, like they'll say. But that marriage of convenience has grown and metamorphosized into this problem, this chaos that we have today. And if we don't resolve that marriage, the base, the foundations of this marriage, then we will just be wasting our time talking about what could be and what couldn't, what should be and what shouldn't be, because we were not regionally the same people. We have different cultures, we have different traditions, different norms, different values, different kingdoms, way of life, totally different. And then we're forced to cohabit. We've done pretty well cohabiting for the last 60 plus years as we've had it. But the problems that we've had at inception, they're still present to today. So
yes, that's what's
so if we really want to look at this issue, I think we should go back as far as 1914 when we were amalgamated.
Right.
Why were we amalgamated? For what purposes were we, the southern and northern protectorates were brought together? You know, what has that done to us? The constitution development from that time to 1922, when we had the Hugh Clifford Constitution to the McPherson's Constitution, all the way down to 1960. What has these developments in our laws? Because they say where there is no law, there is no sin, right? All of these things come to where we are today. So if we don't fix, you know, our history, our background, the laws that govern us, if we don't fix them, then these things will continue to deteriorate. It's like a slopey hill, and there might not be a coming back.
I don't want a change in constitution.
Oh yeah, we will get to that part. But yes, it's one of the things that we need to really, really look at if we even want to start this discussion. And there's been several instances where people have tried to do something. There was a time where there was a town hall meeting between all stakeholders in Nigeria, and we tried to form something new. It just didn't arrive it was dead on arrival, and people walked out of the meetings. And, you know, we know all the factions and what happened at that time. But if we really want to have this discussion where it will matter, those are issues we need to look at. Are we really?
I totally agree with you.
Yeah.
Before Modele will just come in. You see, the thing is, a lot of people will disagree with you a little bit because these things have heightened just lately, right? Modele speaks Hausa, you speak Hausa, I speak a bit of Igbo, and I'm from South, you know, and that's my brother, Yoruba. We kind of live together, you know, the Hausas, the Igbos and Yorubas, we kind of cohabited, you know, if you like.
And coexisted.
Existed for a very long time. Yeah. And there were no problems. But all of a sudden, we are beginning to see all these problems. I think politics probably has a role in this thing. External influence, like you said the other time, probably have influence on all these things. What do you think?
Yeah, coming from that direction, I want to take it this way. It's like a house on fire and a baby is in there. The very first instinct is to save the baby. Then we can start thinking of what caused the explosion, what caused the fire, and all those things. So what I'm trying to say is that we need to de-escalate the situation that is ongoing now in the country.
Before anything else,
we need to relieve the people of the psychological tension that they are going through before we can now talk of sitting down on the table to determine the way forward.
Right.
Yeah, it's
Clear
a marriage
the airway
of
first.
Yeah. It's a marriage of inconvenience that is practical. Everyone understands that. Everyone knows that. The Constitution is an abject document. It's a self-serving military tool, and then it's serving the subsequent politicians who were allies in one way or the other to the military who invested us with that constitution. Those are issues. But right now, I don't know how it works with all of you, but I could see it in your eyes. We are all affected at the state of tension in the country. And when someone like Trump, who is our next door neighbor, starts all his what I call infantile emissions and starts saying Nigeria is a country of particular concern. Yeah, we may be happy about that someone is focusing on Nigeria. But personally, it affects me. When I walk among my colleagues at work, it affects me. When a president somewhere could designate my country as a particular place of concern, then I am a personality of concern.
The truth is that we have put ourselves in that situation.
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
Exactly.
Because if for any reason you have behaved well, you've managed affairs very well. Yes,
like the subject of
absolutely, like Toby was saying, it's marriage of inconvenience, right?
Absolutely.
But these two couples can make things work, right? If we have, in my opinion, if you have the politicians who are saying, let's speak truth to every
power.
situation, to power. Let's make fairness all around. Because that brings me to some of these issues that are going on currently between the Southeast and the Nigerian states. Recently, it was Kanu. Nnamdi Kanu. And it's been sentenced to life in prison. And people might even think that, okay, is it because it's from the southern part of Nigeria? And that on its own can bring tensions. That does not help the situation. What do you think?
Well, before Toby jumps in again, to start out on that point and segue to what you had said initially. Yes, kingdoms have been amalgamated. It looks like the whole setting was rigged from the get-go.
Right.
Rigged with some internal divides, that have been there from the onset. And so it seems like what in the long term will be needed, since we're not going to break apart. Those discussions have taken place over the decades, and it has been agreed that we're not going to split, back into the kingdoms that were. It is what it is. We were put together for economic reasons that served the West, but then going forward or moving forward. Now, we lived together before. This is not the first time, like to your point about why is this happening now. I bemoan, the Nigeria that we grew up in, born of southern or western blood, but born in the middle belt of Nigeria. Went to school. My elementary education, my high school education was in northern Nigeria. My first experience of the West, where I was from, was when I came back, home for college. I went to the University of Ilorin. That was my first time, coming back home. My language one, as when we were speaking earlier,
that would be the Hausa, isn't it?
My language one is Hausa.
Yeah.
In school, we were mandated to take some of the languages, as part of our educational training. And so if you had a native tongue, that was recommended as your language one, right? And then any other language that you wanted to learn, would be your language two.
Right.
For me, I could have taken Hausa as my language one because I was born and bred in the North. I was raised with Hausa domestic staff, right? But I eventually chose Yoruba because I was so much amongst the Hausas. It was around me at home, and I was like, we've never really been down west, so let me learn, the Yoruba language formally, in school. And then my language two, I took Igbo.
Yeah.
Right. And I had all these classmates who were from the North. The Northern culture was in there, instilled, in everyone. We understood that a lot of I went to a girls only a federal girls college. I knew that some of our classmates from JSS3 were going to pull out to go get married because that was the nature of the culture, in the North. And we went and some of us attended, some of these wedding ceremonies. A lot of our best friends, were from down south. But we successfully lived together. My parents are Christian. I am of the Christian faith. And I schooled in Bauchi, where it's mostly, Islamic faith. We coexisted successfully together. Not to say that there wasn't crisis, at the time. But what has caused it to be so heightened, at this point is where I'm thinking that, just looking at those lenses, is it really our cultural difference and the amalgamation, or is it something external that is triggering? Is it really religious? Is it political?
I beg to differ. I beg to disagree. And I'll just circle around some of the discussions that we have. And where I disagree started from the fact that he said that we have lived peacefully. I think you echoed that sentiment as well, that we have been able to peacefully cohabit. I beg to differ. I beg to disagree.
Well, why do you have any experience?
I do have experiences to prove that we have never really lived peacefully together. We might have pretended to live peacefully at some point.
Pretended, that's the word, right?
But we have pretended to live peacefully together, but we have never really lived peacefully. The first military coup that happened in Nigeria was January 16th, 1966, right?
Yes.
That was a coup sponsored majorly by a sector of Nigeria, which is the military, the Igbos in the eastern part of Nigeria, where alleged to be the founders, led by Major General Kaduna Nzeogwu. everybody accused the Igbos of leading that coup, even though there was a Yoruba man and an Hausa man involved in it. And there was a counter coup 6 months later, led by, and ever since then, it's been faction, sect, state, region against
but that one was among
region.
cultural lines. It was among regional lines.
Well, there was religious lines as well. There was cultural lines. There was political. There was economic lines. In all of these discussions, there was a reason why somebody decided to support. There was a reason why somebody decided to go and tell about what was going to happen tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. So we've always had these divides.
Right.
You know, if it was an environment where we had just one language, we had just one religion, we had just one culture, the reasons why people will act will be different. It won't be because, oh, this is my brother from the north, this is my sister from the east. You know, this has always been our reality. We can pretend and say, oh, there was a time when Nigeria was good. I was born and raised in Bauchi State too, in northern Nigeria.
And I was also born in Bauchi too.
I went to school in Bauchi, so Bauchi.
So we hear about
Do you have any Bauchi experience?
No, I was in Yobe for my NYC.
Okay, so
you have
Damaturu. Yeah.
Okay,
I have good friends from Damaturu.
Yeah.
So we have some relationship.
But that's exactly why I felt like I wouldn't, I mean, you got me there. I wouldn't say it's been a beautiful relationship all the way, but I'm saying that it's more
controlled.
It was relatively controlled.
Well,
relatively controlled.
they've been killing since 1980s. As early as I can remember, there's been religious, it might not be in this magnitude that we're seeing today, but I woke up to killings in the 80s all of my time. And I think before I started to realize, even in the 70s, before I came to consciousness, yes, there's always been these killings here and there. The name might differ. Like we said, I think they called them Metasenis then. You know, there were different groups here and there in northern Nigeria. But the reason why they're killing and why they are trying to prove a point is because of these differences that we have. You know, they claim it's either a religious difference, it's either a cultural, it's either an ideology difference. There's something they are trying to prove, and that's because we're not the same. I still go back to that point that we were forced into a union, people who were not the same.
We didn't probably
that we didn't have an idea. We were not there where these decisions were made.
But Toby, I mean, you've made your point, and it's really very loud. I understand that perfectly. To be honest with you, that's what a lot of people are saying. But let's begin from where we're beginning to have this external influence with Trump's statements. Let's focus on that a little bit right now. Because I feel that's where collectively as Nigerians, we're supposed to come together and say, okay, is that something we want to let in? Do we want to let the mouse in? That little tiny mouse in? I mean, because once this influence comes up, we know what's up. I mean, we know how far that can go. It can take away everything.
I think about the Arab Spring
that happened.
I try not to think about it, but you know, it's giving Arab Spring.
That's what we don't want. So, but do you think that the intervention from the United States, it's something we need at this point? What do you think? What are the positives we can take from that if it happens? What are the negatives we should be aware of?
Well, historically, even the very first of major powerful empires had always found allies in other strong empires, you know, come around, help us defeat all these forces that are, so that is something that is actually a way we have these global and interstate connections with each other as humans. Even generally in Africa, in the world, the reason the UN came up, the reason the AU from OAU came up was because, okay, we must find a reason to be allies in case of external aggression. So that was why all those things came up. So when a country decides to actually be in alliance with another country to push off aggression in that country, it is not something negative. But now we have to think of two major factors that we are talking about now. America itself as a state and Trump as a personality. So if we're thinking of America as a state, we can go back to very recent history, the 60s, the Bay of Pig invasion in Cuba, where they tried to overflush the communist Castro and failed woefully. We think of Vietnam. What they tried to achieve in Vietnam in the 70s was actually what came in Vietnam. We try to think of other states, other countries that America had invaded, and we found out that there is this kind of sinking realization emerging at the end of the day. America, at those instances, always end up winning the battle, but they never win the war. And war is what kills the people.
Right.
So our sentiment should actually be flushing in that direction.
Right.
America wants to, and you use the word intervene. Trump doesn't sound like he wants to intervene. It sounds like he wants to interfere.
But Soji, yeah, I mean, come on. There's real problem back there.
There is.
And from observation, a lot of people are saying that the government in power is overwhelmed.
Yeah.
So if he comes in, if Trump comes in,
I agree 100% with you. As a matter of fact, I was speaking with someone a few days ago, and I told myself that for the first time in my life, I was saying, God, if Trump is the one that will solve Nigeria's problem, bring him quickly. Right. You know, I was looking at myself and said, how could I have said this?
Yeah.
But that shows the tension that is reeling in the head of every Nigerian who are concerned about the situation. Yeah. But Trump himself as a personality,
you talked about his personality.
I'm sorry.
A lot of people, I guess, they are more afraid of the personality than the state.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I'm becoming sentimental here. Of course, I don't hide it. I am someone who doesn't like his personality. Right. I'm someone who doesn't like his personality. He seemed to me like the concept of George Orwell's Animal Farm. I come to you, pretend like I want to help you to defeat those forces who are against your development, then I impose myself and then become that very force.
Yeah. No, but I mean, I will give it to Donald Trump, though. He's someone who has said things and has kept his word.
Yeah.
Whether it's on negative or positive.
I want to agree with that.
I agree with that. But when America tells you that I'm coming, gun a blazing, you know, we must
collateral damage.
Actually, that's exactly
collateral damage.
How do you want to go gun a blazing where people have children, where they are elderly, how do you identify and pinpoint? There is no amount of intelligence. There is no Navy SEAL that you want to. Those people, those bandits, do what is called human shield when there is chaos. They take their victims, they put them in front, they put them at the back, they become human shield, kill us, kill all those people.
I guess that's where
so we must take account. We are talking about human lives here. We must take account of things like that. Trump's interference, I like to say.
Yeah. So, but Toby, I know you want to jump in on that one, but let's look at it from this angle too. Even within Nigeria, we have people are already divided. This is not true. There's no genocide. There's no this, there's no that. Are we having a problem of accuracy of data or information here? Because America is probably working based on the information they probably have. I don't know from where.
Yeah, I mean, I've to add to that, I had to answer some questions to some of my Caucasian friends, yesterday to say we're getting conflicting, news about Nigeria. On one side, we're hearing that, people are dying and people are being slaughtered. On the other side, we're hearing that there are massive conferences, taking place, there's, development. So it sounds like there's war, but it also sounds like, there's peace. And being able to provide like an accurate statement of what's going on. I kind of leaned, to be honest, in that conversation, I leaned towards what you were saying, Toby, where, I was saying that a lot of what is happening has been happening for decades ongoing, but probably has not received the same type of attention that it's receiving now. Although I'm a bit concerned about some of the timing, of some of the things that are happening now. It's never
at this level of intensity also.
Never been.
It's never
but
at this level
remember that
of
elections are around the corner for
that. I mean, we'll get into that.
That's a white elephant in the middle of the living room. Elections, are around the corner. Is there any, correlation,
Yeah.
or is this just a coincidence
Yeah.
that?
So let's just
Politics.
iron out that part. Is
Yeah.
it true that this numbers that have been thrown around, it's actually true? Because that's where I feel America has been motivated.
So Nigeria is a sovereign country, right? We're an autonomous state.
Yeah.
And regardless of how bad it looks, we have intelligence enough to give the accurate data that we're talking about. The Nigerian military is not that bad. I mean, we're the giants of Africa.
Right.
In quotes. so
Ecomog forces.
you will not look at a Nigerian army with all of its force and might and say that we don't have the right, equipment or data or intelligence to be able to manage this situation, or at least provide data that is accurate. But then that's where politics comes into play. The divides in the political scene, the interests that these data will mean. If the real data comes out, what happens? I'm going to look bad in the international community. Everybody's going to know I can't do this. And why can't I do it? Because if we really think about this, we know that the commander-in-chief of the armed forces can make certain decisions,
Absolutely.
can give certain orders. That I saw a general on TV yesterday, I think he was the commanding officer of the Nigerian army,
I know I saw something
begging the terrorists to lay down their
Possibly,
just a few hours after the same terrorist killed one of his generals, a brigadier general, right in cold blood. So that there is something else that is not being said. There is an undertone that we all know what it is, but nobody's brave enough to come out and say this.
I'm sorry, I still have to stress.
Yep.
Is it a genocide against Christians, or is it a collection of both Christians and Muslims that are being killed right now? What are you hearing? What do you think?
It has always
that
been...
story, I mean, it's a bit rough that we need to...
and with apologies to all Muslims, not all Muslims are extremists.
Right.
There are lots of Muslims that are peacekeeping, that love the peace.
We got friends.
We've all had friends Muslims, but the reality of what is happening in Nigeria is that there is a faction of the Islamic sects in northern Nigeria, and it's not everybody in northern Nigeria. It's not all even the people we call northerners, because these people that have this belief are mostly Fulanis, and you will be doing a great injustice
and
to
not
northern
all of
Nigeria
them still, by the way.
if you think that Fulanis and Hausas are the same. Fulanis are not Hausas.
No.
The Bororos are not Fulanis.
Right.
So you have to know this sects and know who exactly...
different skin
the skin
tone,
color,
lighter,
thank you.
creamier skin,
so if you don't,
hair,
yep.
and more lean
They used to
structure.
call me Bororo when I was younger because I had color.
Are you one of them? Are you one of them? We have to be very careful. Maybe he is actually.
Chicken sune.
No. Bana so irun one.
That's okay. Let's switch to that.
Come home, come back home.
But the reality is that there are different people who form these ideologies, and the ones that are really behind the problems that we have coincidentally been the topmost owners of power in Nigeria. And I'm talking about the Fulani, the Hausa Fulanis, or specifically the Fulanis.
I learned there's nothing like Hausa Fulani.
Well,
Fulani or
because there's
Hausas.
been marriages.
well, at least
in
you
and
come to
out.
marriage, you can have the Yoruba Igbo.
So if
and
an
Yoruba.
Hausa man marries a Fulani man, the child they will have, what would you call him?
Hausa.
Hausa Fulani. That's an Hausa Fulani. That's what we mean by Hausa Fulani. Because
Right.
you can't take away the Hausa side, you can't take away the Fulani side.
Yeah.
But if you look at most of the military heads of states that we've had, they're Fulanis. From the Babangidas to the Buharis, and most of them, even Abubakar, most of them are not Hausas, as we've all been told to believe. They are from states where they are predominantly, Kanuri tribe from Borno, or, some of these core Fulani regions. So the belief and propaganda pushed by this region is the main problem in this. And it's not just all northerners, that there are northerners suffering. There are tribes, sects that are mostly Christians who have almost been wiped out. I was telling you about the Betsei tribe. The Betsei tribe is almost gone. We don't
The
even know.
is located in what state of Nigeria?
In Bauchi State. They're all over the place. They're a tribe of people. And they're all Muslim, Christians, I beg your pardon. They're all Christians. But
And the Zango Kata
I have not met a Besei in the last 20, 30 years. They don't really travel much, but even back home, they've been wiped out. They used to be in communities. Those communities are occupied now by Fulanis.
Now, I'm talking about communities. The other day, you and I were talking about the role of the church,
Yeah.
the role of the chiefs,
Yeah.
the role of every other stakeholder in Nigeria. What are they doing? How have they helped the situation?
I mean, from some of the things that we're hearing, there has been a lot of financial aid going out of the southern church to the northern church, like in terms
support,
of the church
right,
as an
for those-
institution.
Okay.
There has been a lot of that support. I remember before I left the country almost a decade ago, there was a man that came from the north, a preacher. I forget his name. He had come from the north. I think he was now eventually based in the south, and he actually brought ashes, like from the corpse of, and I'm sorry to get that gory, but he did bring it, into the church, the southern church, and scattered the ashes and said, this is what's happening to our brothers. So bringing the sensitizing because I don't know if it's because the country is as huge as it is, one aspect of the country can be completely immune. Disconnected to some of the pain of the north, but I know that that we saw some active efforts to bridge and send relief
No, but that's at the level of churches like this. I'm saying those big names in Nigeria, the big churches, those ones that have thousands and thousands of members of their churches. What are they doing? Are they voicing? Are they speaking?
I must say I'm disappointed, and I won't mince words in that regard. That I'm very disappointed at the big guns, if we'll call them that, the big cats in the religious sector, in the Christendom. I'll be specific because the Christendom is the one most affected by all of these things, and for the capacity they control,
right?
For the kind
what
of
are you expecting?
weight,
military weapons for them to send military weapons.
the voice of
the more
one
you
of them.
speak,
If four of them come together. And I'm talking of the big ones. Everybody listening, watching now know the four that I'm talking about.
Yeah, but I'm not calling names.
I'm not too.
But I mean, isn't there like on social media, and I hate to be sounding like, like the devil's advocate right now. That's probably a very poor analogy right now for me to abuse devil's advocate. But, aren't we hearing like them coming out on social media to decry and to denounce?
No, they are not doing it the way that we would have wanted them to do it. Like the outcry, the daily killings. I have not seen any of them actually specifically condemn this in the light of extra political, pointing fingers at what needs to be done and who needs to. We've not seen that. They might come out and say, oh, they killed someone, it's bad. Yeah, we all know that. But with your power, with your capacity, with your financial wealth, with your presence, if one of them were to appear on Fox or CNN, if one of them were to do that, the world will listen. If one of them were to go to the United Nations or ECOWAS and say, hey, I am so,
right,
the owner of the biggest church in the world.
Yeah.
In the world,
and
not
this
in
is
Africa.
Where I stand on
this is what is happening to my people. The world will listen.
What do you want to add?
Yeah, I quite agree. I think we shouldn't even have been at this level if those I call them prosperity churches. If they had voiced out
they've done
a long time ago. Why? These are very influential institutions in Nigeria of today.
Right.
Yeah.
I think they are more influential than even the government. Go take data. Sundays, check how much youths will be trooping in and out of those churches.
Absolutely.
Go and check. These are youths who could do 40 days fasting, who could put on YouTube to listen to all those things who could go for 3 days revival and all those things with theme. Probably, I will make it tomorrow. After 10 days, this will not be my life again and all those things. They are so heavily embodied in this institution. Now imagine if that institution could come up with a resounding voice. Imagine the impact
it will make, right?
Just think of that.
Here. I may be wrong here, but I think having, again, when you're in a place for like a decade, there's a whole mindset shift. You've observed, a lot of things. We are a function, and when I say we now, I mean like Nigeria. We are a function of our society in terms of our leaders come out of
us,
of the populace. So the governor, is a representation, of the common man. Just like the pastor is also a representation, of the common Christian. And one thing that has bothered me that over the decade is my observation of life in North America and Canada, versus life back home. There seems to be more of a we observe on November 11 when we observe Remembrance Day, and you can see the sense of sacrifice and the sense of volunteering and the sense of giving out of oneself, denying oneself of one's comfort for the betterment of the larger good. I feel like, back home, there has been more of a self-preservation mentality. I will move when there's something in it for me personally. I feel like that was what I was comfortable in as a person, and it was one of the first culture shocks, that I experienced, coming into diaspora. Like, I'm in a place where here, everyone wants to chip in to do something. Everyone wants to bleed, versus back home where it seems as though, like, okay, so who's out there? And we're all watching from the corner, and we're more of analysts, expert analysts, versus, actual doers. So perhaps, that has been, one of the things that we have seen, in the long run, where it's almost as though people are more.
I don't think that is cultural. I think it's something systematically created by our leaders.
All right.
Yeah, when you are not invested in a society and a society is not invested in you, you have to live your life as an individual.
I know.
In Nigeria, we joke that you are your local government.
Indeed.
You provide everything for
power, water, everything.
When
security
push comes to shove, it's going to be fight or flight.
Right.
You are going to be that individual. Right. So you can't tell me to invest where I have nothing at stake.
Right.
Yeah, it's really sad personally for me. And it's one of the things that I'm hoping, there's a new Nigeria. We all believed in that new Nigeria. I mean, when I left for the first few years when I was here, I hid my face. I didn't let a lot of people know that I had left the country because I was one of the pro people for the new Nigeria. And one of the things that I'm really hoping still to see in that new Nigeria is something that reverses this, where that part of us that is broken, where the system has broken the people to the point where it's like, guys, I got to look for my head. I got to day my day, type of thing. Because for me to live my day to day or day is too dangerous to my day. So I have to, be protecting, like my own day. But segueing into like this whole diaspora thing, like how it affects the Nigerian in diaspora. How are you feeling?
Well, devastated
from outside,
There's a number of adjectives that can qualify how we feel. For me, I feel horrible sometimes.
Is there family back home?
Yeah, we all have family.
I mean,
brothers, sisters.
I probably don't have family.
I buried my parents before I left. Conveniently, before I left, it was painful. But
cousins, brothers,
but
sisters.
I do have, of course.
Yeah, but the feeling is always.
And you must be thinking that probably one day,
I am.
if you get to that age, you might want to go back home and die there. We all think like that. Most of us who left home at
our
adulthood.
kids who here are being told that they're a visible minority. We've told them about a kingdom, back home where they belong.
You could see how this thing affects you. Talking about kids. One way you'll be telling your kids, oh, that's your home where you belong. You must find your feet here, but that's your home. But deep within you, you know that home is never for them. Those kids are not going back home.
I know.
Oh boy.
They aren't going back home. That's just the truth.
We can't guarantee that.
Yeah.
But you see, let's bring ourselves back in here. In diaspora, whether we're here or whether we're in Nigeria, we're impacted by this thing that
we are.
What role can we play to help solve this problem?
Well,
what do you guys think we need to do?
First, a couple of things I think we should do. The sensitization of how it should be, where we should go, what people should do. You know, it's not much, but the first thing I think we should do is to continue to sensitize our people as far as elections are concerned.
Absolutely, that's the point.
Let them know, don't vote for a peanut that they give you an election. That's not going to sustain you. You see how the last 16 years or 32 years has gone? Don't repeat that.
But you're far off here, right? And you're telling them what to do. What
From
not
here.
To do. Right. What power do you have to actually control?
Financial power.
Okay.
An average person
How is that?
here.
How's that,
an average person here funds families back home.
It's called the black tax, just in case you don't know. We're all paying it.
We don't want to go into that conversation because
He who pays the piper
I got
takes the tune.
I
they
got a
say.
message from one of my relatives a couple of days saying, how are you? How are you, my darling?
You know where they were going to land on that one, right?
Nigeria is bitter. It is bitter. Everywhere is bitter.
Yeah.
I wish it was funny.
But
I wish it
really,
was funny.
really, let me pick on that. Don't vote for peanuts. That was my idea until about 3 years ago. I tell people I'm a 100% Nigerian. If you address me as a Nigerian Canadian, I will tell you publicly, you're wrong. I'm a Nigerian living in Canada carrying a Canadian passport. I am a Nigerian.
Niger now.
So that means all my soul is in Nigeria.
Yeah.
See, that very prompt of people voting for peanuts, it's something we really need to look at. You can't stop people. When hunger hits people, when a child takes food that does not belong to him or her and eats, you can't say that child has stolen.
Yeah.
A hungry child never steals food. A child has to eat.
Right.
That's where I'm going. When you give people who could not afford a pot of soup for weeks, 20,000 to vote, are you telling them not to take the money? Knowing that at the end of the election, they are going back to the very same country that was there yesterday before the vote. I mean, who are the leaders that you want to vote for that will turn the country around? And, you know, it's become so, everything has become so suspicious.
But can we trust the electoral system?
So suspicious. The electoral system is not to be trusted. Those campaigning for election, holding political posts are not to be trusted. You know, it's like, it's a whole mess.
I agree.
It's a whole big mess.
It's a lot of not so nice stories we can talk around there. But do we have the possibility of probably meeting authorities here to say, this is where we are? If we can't speak to our government directly as Nigerians in Nova Scotia, in Canada.
I think that's bigger. That's bigger for us, a plus and a possibility than, I mean, I'm sorry to to disagree with you there, Toby, about what you had said about the elections, because number one,
you shouldn't be sorry to disagree. We should disagree on this table.
I am Canadian. We apologize all the time.
We are exchanging perspectives.
She wants to make sure she's not bullying Toby. No, she's the only.
We always
Trump relative.
we always start with sorry here in Canada before we say our points. So again, sorry, but
no problems.
The thing is, when the last election, all my friends from back home, my family back home, they were in the sun, they were under the sun, they were in the rain, and they went and they voted, and the elections turned out against what seemed to have been what the people voted. So for us in diaspora, that may not be our biggest, while we may promote and sensitize people to vote,
there's one thing to tell them, it's another for them to do another.
Right. It may be easier for us, like you said, to begin to lobby with our governments here in diaspora to achieve, well, to my mind, two things come. Ever since I started to hear about this, the first thing that came to my mind was evacuation.
To where?
Just out of the place first.
200 million people.
I'm sorry. I know it sounds
we can go to the moon. The moon is.
I know it sounds ridiculous, but to be able to speak to them about the possibilities of evacuation, even if it's to evacuate a few.
Yeah.
I hate the thought of what I'm saying, and I really pray it doesn't come to that.
To be honest, that is almost an impossibility, because why? You see, these countries all have their problems.
Yeah.
America has their problems.
They won't even.
Which, I mean, you can't even say, we may accuse Trump, but the one thing that he has done is stand up for his country to say, as US, they have their own problems.
Yeah.
You world, you've dumped on us for too many decades.
Yeah.
You guys stop dumping on us now. We're full.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, the thought does cross my mind. The second thing, that crosses my mind is, speaking to here, legislature here, sensitizing to see if they can lobby and lend a voice, perhaps for relief, material or aid, to ensure that if the bulldozer, let's call him the bulldozer, if the bulldozer does eventually come and, into the country to bulldoze, that there is world support for relief standing by for that collateral damage, that we are concerned about.
Yeah, I didn't get to respond to the other time when you asked if it was okay for the United States as a country and President Trump as the president to come in.
He's not intervening.
Invade.
I totally agree. I'm of the opinion.
I don't know why you keep saying
he's invading.
The guy doesn't like the guy. That's the problem we have here.
Africa, Nigeria in particular, is too big to invade. Right?
Well, I support that motion. I want him to come. I'm not of the opinion that
you think it's
come.
a good.
I think it's a good initiative.
Where is this coming from?
This is coming from the fact that every human life counts. We can sit here like they sit in the Nigerian Senate and in the House of Reps and talk every hour as we're talking, as we're speaking now.
Yeah.
We don't even know what's going on. What we're going to hear tomorrow morning in the news, we don't know. As we're talking now, there might be people being slaughtered, being maimed and damaged and kidnapped and, tortured. So there is a need for an urgency that our government cannot provide. So as far as I am concerned, I don't care if that help comes from Satan himself. As long as it's help and it's going to solve some of our immediate problem. Like my dad will always say, if you find yourself in a swamp and both feet are in there, you remove one first. When that one is on solid ground,
then you try to figure out the other one.
Remember there is another one.
Bring it out. For Toby, I may be wrong here, but when I ask the question, where is this coming from? I hear the desperation, in his position that reminds me of, some of, what you're sharing, before we came on air, about your personal experience. Not a lot of us have met people that have had personal experience with this. My one experience that was the closest to it was going into a Zoom call as a project manager for a project that had an American programmer, Nigerian American programmer. And he comes on and, after everyone else leaves, after our Caucasian and Asian colleagues leave the call, he comes on and says, "Oh, you're from Nigeria." And we get talking and I find out that his father was gunned on a Sunday morning in Catholic Church in Kano, where he grew up, because we got speaking house and everything. And part of the trauma, is what took him to the US. So when Toby is speaking,
it's coming from
a place of
personal experiences that I have actually seen.
You want to share a little bit with us?
Well,
You want me to cry again? When he said this thing, I cried.
But it's real.
It is actually. It's but sometimes, to be honest with you, if I have my way, I'll tell Toby, see a counselor. This
I know
is like it's been several years.
30-something years ago. That's been a long time.
Don't worry, I'll let you just say.
Well,
for the benefit of those who don't know.
I've outgrown the major trauma that comes with it. But I was born and raised in Bauchi State, like I said.
Right.
And in my early stages, my first 10, 15 years of living, I experienced what has metamorphosized into Boko Haram in their original state.
Wow.
And it's not what we do in the South. Southern Nigeria, we've not really seen them. We just think, 200 people died in our head. We know those
we
were
had
humans.
men, don't forget, the Niger Delta guys, right? It happened there too.
Not at that
scale.
I want to hear Toby's story.
If you've seen movies, what I can describe closest, like maybe you've seen Sunset, sometimes in April. Hotel Rwanda. The likes of that is what I'm talking about.
That's another layer altogether.
Yeah, it's not. they kidnapped the Bielsa guys, the South guys.
They were civil a little bit.
Yeah,
civil.
they're
Just
civil.
kidnapping
They
for
kidnap
ransom
you,
and
you
all
pay
those
ransom.
things,
There's
and they
no
let you go.
problem.
But
Before
what you
there'll
went
be,
through?
yeah, get to the nitty
Go
gritty.
to it quick.
I mean, I'm just.
Well,
I really wanted
for
to
me,
hear more.
when I was small, we've experienced several of these kind of attacks.
Uprisings.
And I'll report one of it. There was one particular one where my mom was on the balcony. My house had a balcony, and in the evening, like 7 p.m., 8 p.m., I was already asleep. And then they called, the normal 7 p.m. prayers. Was it 7 or 9 or what?
7 a.m.
7 p.m. The one in the
PM, okay.
night.
Yeah, the evening.
And they called that prayers. And the imam was telling everybody, it's time. Let's go and do it.
Was it during Ramadan?
No, it wasn't. It
regular
was just
season?
a regular day. Everybody was. It was really hot in northern Nigeria. I don't know. For those of you who live there, when it's the heat time, nobody can
38
sleep.
degrees
So my mom was on
centigrade.
the balcony trying to get some fresh air, and then they said, let's go and do it. And in 5 minutes, the whole city was on fire. It was houses burning. If you look around, you see fire everywhere. And boom, she rushed down, woke us all up. It was like 6 of us.
Wow.
And dragged us like that. My dad was with us, and we rushed out. When we got outside, there was a line already. They caught everybody because it was a planned work, and they lined us up.
Oh, you mean they had...
Yeah, yeah. It was an organized. If you've
For
never
execution, right?
and they've started executing them right from the front.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, they've started slaughtering people. And if I say it, I don't mean pull a trigger and kill someone. It's a painful process of putting I don't know if this is okay to say.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's okay to say this online, but it's a traumatic process of, it's even, both of them are gonna die, but one is more painful. It's the process of doing it that makes it even more brutal, and we have to wait on this line because there's nowhere to go. There are people right and left, and boom, how we survived, how I'm here today is a miracle that is out of the blues. Someone backed out of their house with a truck, and we hurriedly rushed in one way or the other.
You just got out of the execution line.
Yep. We were behind on the line. Like, it was like a 50-meter line.
So you literally
got into that car.
You are going to...
The drive, it was going to get to us one way or the other because we were already, on the front. They were already slaughtering
Is this
them.
clubs? Is it knives?
Clubs, knives, dagger, machetes. At that time, they didn't have guns, though. But it was still the same ideology. It was the same Islamophobia or whatever. Not Islamophobia, Islamization of Nigeria agenda. If you don't accept Islam, you'll be killed. But when they come, they don't even give you a chance to accept or not. Because these people that are sent are thugs. They're Hausa thugs or Fulani thugs that their goal is not to preach a religion to you. Their goal is just violence in its raw form. They just want to see blood all over the place.
Wow.
They want to see heads scattered. There's some of it that I told you I may not be able to say online, but it's gory. It's so that's what these people are experiencing. When you see bodies that are burnt in the morning on camera, you don't want to imagine what happened before that body was set up. They probably set that body on fire because what they did to that human was too much.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. That's probably why they set it on fire, just to conceal.
Do you have nightmares sometimes?
Oh, yeah. Sometimes I wake up to see these faces. Because in the morning, we had to go back and search. My dad couldn't get on the bus.
With you guys.
Yeah, and there was no phones. This was way back in the 80s. There were no phones. There was no
cell phones.
No nothing to communicate. So we couldn't see him for like 24 hours. So my mom forced us to go back, and we were checking the dead bodies.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and I was still a kid. So you will see their corpses. Yeah, I still see those faces till date. So if you can, I was lucky, I'll say, I don't want to call it luck or whatever, maybe God had a plan for me or something. But so many people don't have that opportunity. And every time we wait, every opportunity we get to do something and we didn't, where we're still talking and debating. If Trump is gonna come, let him come. If he's gonna come and save people, that could be you. If the situations were reversed and you were born in Sokoto, that can be you tonight. You just a matter of DNA chance that you're the guy here now.
Could have been anyone.
You could have been
anyone.
Yeah. So if he's coming to save us, he might have a personal agenda. Yes, the U.S. goes somewhere and they never leave the same. They always exploit the opportunity. Yeah,
I agree with you that Toby. I think Toby should do therapy. I think he should speak to someone.
Absolutely.
Isn't this what they call like PTSD?
Well, I'm to be honest, I'm way
Toby's a
above
strong
it.
man. Just looking at him.
Yeah, but you see, this thing, the sentence you just made, Yakubu, I am obsessed with you.
There you go again.
For that statement you just made.
He's a strong man. Come on.
No, but this is what
He's a Nigerian.
You keep saying that we're strong, and there could be like
I think it's
residual
important
trauma.
we emphasize one fact that Toby stated earlier on. Discussions, the subject of Islam kept coming up. We need to emphasize, for the sake of our audience, that we believe, tolerate, and understand Islam.
We do.
But these are people who are practicing an extremely fanatical form of Islam that was never in the composition of the regular Islam that people we know
which may even just have political undertones.
Our audience just have to know that it's
That's
not
right.
about Islamization.
Nailed it.
This is just about
very
a form of Islam that we practically can't relate with.
Because you can't
even
see
those
this
who practice
in
Islam
UAE.
don't
To buttress that,
Islam don't
my
go about
mom's
killing
family
people.
is an Islamic family. So I'm
Look at
also half Muslim, if you want to say that. But my granddad on the mom's side came to visit us in Bauchi State. He was not allowed into the mosque. That's how far.
You mean there's difference between the Muslims, right?
I keep telling people that there is a different kind of Islam, and if you think it's the same, well, God forbid you meet these other ones. Yeah, but yes, most of my friends are Muslims. I have good Muslim
I have a lot of them. So I don't think it's Muslim Christian thing.
No.
I feel we are facing something beyond these two religions.
It's way beyond. It's way beyond.
Because I have most of my friends are Muslims till today.
And I have good friends that are as well. I went to school with them.
Most of those Muslims are from southern Nigeria, correct?
I have core northern friends that are Muslim from core north
who are educated.
That we were in school together.
So you see, I'm asking certain questions to get
based on your experience
to get to where we're going.
You stayed in the north even longer than us.
Correct.
Probably
Correct.
that's why.
So some of them, the reason why Boko Haram, we know what Boko Haram means, right? Yeah. It's Boko means Western education. Haram means something that is not good, not holy, not good for us. Unaccepted. So Western education is anybody that will believe these extreme fanatical Islam has to be an illiterate.
These are fanatics.
A sane, educated person who is a Muslim will be on this side of
it's riding on ignorance,
illiteracy. Because if I told you that you have to strap up a bomb and when you get to heaven, I'll give you 77 virgins.
Do virgins die that way?
It takes.
Why are they not even giving them right?
It takes an illiterate to accept that kind of offer.
I get it.
I'll be like, why don't you do it? If you were, there's questions that will pop up, but the only set of people who would swallow that hook, line, and sinker is someone who has zero, and that's why they want to insist, want to continue that trend where
okay, I think it's time to pivot. I feel like this has been like a dark cloud over us in the last few minutes, and I'm fighting for hope.
We're
fighting for hope.
We're all fighting for hope.
Now what can be done? What are the solutions that could be on the horizon for a Nigeria that we can, what we talked about our children, that we can say to our children, once upon a time it was really bad, but all that is behind us now.
One thing I want to suggest, we have to look at those who have done it before us.
Okay.
We don't just take things out of context and imagine that it will work. There are countries who have experienced these differences that we had and are doing fine today. let's look at
That
them.
we can learn
You know,
from
we
them.
can learn from how they did theirs.
managed their
You know, we've
situation,
had
right.
Northern and Southern Korea that used to be together. We've
But
had
not to Sudan anyway.
we've had
not gonna learn from
USSR.
No.
We've had Soviet Union, would used to be 27 countries, maybe. Today they are all doing fine.
Yeah.
Separate, although there's still a
But
current
you're
war.
not suggesting breaking up, right?
I'm not, well, it could be an option.
That is an episode for another day.
We're not,
I feel
I'm not
that's out of
suggesting
scope for now because
It's yeah,
you don't want
out of
to.
scope.
You don't want to speak it into reality.
I'm not suggesting it, but if it's what will give us, you know, the peace we desire,
right.
why not? Why not? You know, so we're looking at options of what could
Options.
be.
Yeah.
What should we do going up from
Yeah, I
here?
agree with him.
Oh, I agree with him to a significant extent.
Okay.
But I also think that we need to isolate the very problem of that country, the elements constituting the problems. And I think those are the political class. You know, these are the political class that lacks everything that has to do with integrity. He mentioned Nzeogu the other time for the 1966 coup. And, you know, we all started this brainwashing that is an Igbo coup. For me, that is an ideological coup.
Right.
As a matter of fact, in their manifesto, it was stated that they will be handing over to Awolowo, who they believe is one of the most ideological leaders in Africa.
Who was
So they
Yoruba and
went
not
in with
Igbo, right?
ideology. We are lacking that now. We have leaders, politicians who are so, I'm sorry to say, pot-bellied, because that's the only thing they feed on. You know, there is no ideology. There is nothing that has
And no
Accountability.
accountability.
mine
There is no
too.
accountability.
Accountability
I don't want to
for
be
the
part of
government.
those.
There is no ideology, there is no accountability, there is no integrity. I see, we can't be this inured to talking about dead bodies, counting bodies, talking about data of people dead, and we are not angry at this set of people. Right from the basic ones, the councillors in local government, to the very top, the president, a complete set of inept constituents
But they
cycling around
say
the country.
that the representatives of a country are
It's a
representation, a reflection
yeah.
of
So
yeah.
That's what you're saying.
the change of ideology with education, with societal reform projects,
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
security
So,
reform.
part of what I think in isolating this, extracting this element out of, I think international kind of sanction on not the country, but politicians.
Right.
You know, you deprive them of so many things. I learned, you know, but I don't know if that is verified, that someone like Wike had about 3 houses in California also.
Yeah.
Why are these countries also recipients of all these?
But can they sanction? Can internationally sanction in
can't.
sovereignty?
Yeah, we are an
Because
autonomous
without
country.
violating sovereignty,
We are an
that's the
autonomous
challenge.
country. We have
No,
sovereign
I mean
rules.
sanction in
Individuals.
terms of
Right?
pardon me.
You mean the individuals, not
Yeah,
the
individuals, like
Okay.
denying them of
Those
some kind of
actors, those ones
international,
who- yeah.
you know,
Privileges.
privileges that they used to have.
Right.
Oh, for example, I think Trump is trying to do that, deny some politicians
Access.
visa to the.
Okay.
These are things. These are some
Go
of
to
the
your
places
country,
they
fix your
they
country.
take those
Right.
stolen.
But you know, to be honest, these other countries, they don't want Africa to progress. In a
That is
There's that
is
one
my
too.
problem with
Your-
Trump.
my
your-
people.
your
That is my
dis-
problem with Trump.
Your disadvantage is their advantage.
That is my problem with Trump.
Your
That-
poor state is an advantage
The
to their
selling of
growth.
arms,
You know,
arms and
So-
military equipment
to
gets
be
sold.
honest, I think Nigeria is one of the most, I don't know the right choice of word, but what I'm trying to say is that the world looks at us with such fear because we have such conglomeration of intelligent
Oh, yeah.
people.
We do.
Anywhere we,
We
go,
do.
Nigeria, Nigeria,
The
Nigeria.
finest breed
So-
of humans.
Yep.
So-
I am grateful
So
to be
how would you
a
expect
part of. Yeah.
Yeah.
that a Trump MAGA, who everything America would want something that will elevate
That kind of a people. Yeah.
Nigeria?
Yeah.
No.
For me,
I'm
one
not
last
against-
one.
Yeah.
I'm not against some kind of internal on our allyship intervention.
Yeah.
I'm against that very personality who is shouting that he wants. That personality is my problem.
With the brother doesn't like the brother.
Back to the original post comment I made at the start. I think one of the things we could also do is strive to change our constitution. If we don't change that constitution,
that's our biggest mess.
If we don't change that constitution,
we are not going anywhere.
All the things we've been saying cannot be lawfully enacted.
We are not going
because the reasons why the politicians are having a free day, the constitution backs it.
I agree.
This constitution was created by...
We are not going anywhere without changing that thing.
Yeah.
A councillor that was not, the information was not given to me by the councillor. Someone who works with the councillor in Lagos was telling me a councillor goes home with 7 million naira every month.
Wow.
That's a
I left Nigeria working for a government institution, and I was about stepping on a ladder that I would have been called senior. I never earned 250,000 before leaving Nigeria.
Oh, you mean councillor, not the House of...
no,
councillor.
Yeah?
The
Wow.
very...
The bottom of the rung.
Not chairman of
7
local
million.
government.
And I said, what's going on?
What is he doing?
And the person tried to
Probably they laugh.
The
They laugh.
person tried. Can you imagine?
If
The
imagine
person
you
tried to justify it. That it's necessary. If this guy walks out of his house, there are people already lining up, and he needs to throw money to them. Otherwise, he loses his goodwill. He loses his street credibility.
Like you said,
these are things we're talking about.
So
if
the political class, if we really want to curtail their excesses, the law has to
change.
State it out.
The councillor has no business earning more than 200,000. Go and find other job. Your job as a councillor is to be in session once a week, 3 hours. That's all.
Right.
Go and do other jobs like they do in America.
Right.
Like they do in England.
Go and do other jobs. Come to the parliament as a councillor just once a week, 3 hours. At the end of it, take your 200,000.
And
what is the councillor doing with 7 million?
I totally
These
agree
are problems.
Right, gentlemen.
So regulating
let's
sector.
bring this home.
Yeah.
Obviously, this conversation has been so deep, and we can't just keep going, right? But at the bottom of this, or at the center of all this, we have members of our community who some are even impacted as you speak.
Yeah.
Loved ones may have been part of those who were kidnapped or have been in one way or the other killed. As we wrap up, what would be your message to them as far as they are feeling right now, the concerns they have right now, the feeling of disappointment from the leadership of the Nigerian government, and maybe the West as well? Because people are saying, why now, too late? Probably they would have started talking about this. As we wrap up in 30 seconds, each of you, what do you think?
Keep hope. Be hopeful. When a man loses hope, he loses everything. So keep your hope alive. And, I'm not going to say pray, because we've been praying for so long and nothing has happened, but be hopeful. Defend yourself with anything you have. Defend your family, defend yourself. I mean, I know it's illegal to own a gun and all that, but if you need to get a license, get one. If you need to buy a gun, get one. If you
defend yourself within the limits.
Within your limits. Yep.
Right.
And hope for the best.
Right.
That'll be my message.
Yes.
Well, for me, I would say just hold someone by the hands. Right. The country is going through a lot of tension now, and people are having so much inside of them, and some of these things are not even reflecting outside. People are dying. So just hold someone by the hand, hold someone by the hand.
And I guess if there's any mention of amendment of the Constitution as part of the agenda for, the next set of elected officials, that should be the force to pull behind, to look into that Constitution. Has it been a long time coming?
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Thank you, gentlemen, for your thoughts. And I think we've done justice to this for now. But
for now,
more episodes will be coming up, and I know you guys will be on set here to deal with matters. Thank you so much.
Thank you for coming.
All right, over to you.
Well, these issues they're complicated, they're emotional, and deeply connected to our identity as Nigerians in diaspora. Our hope is that conversations like this bring clarity, unity, and a stronger commitment to truth.
And to you, our viewers, thank you for watching Niger Now, and please stay informed by constantly following us on our social media handles. Stay engaged, stay hopeful. I hope to see you next time.